In this video, we're going to go over how to create the spine. So first of all, I'm going to go into bone edit mode. We're going to create bones. And if we look at this guy here, we definitely want to have a hip bone of sorts. So hip bone can go up through here, and it doesn't matter if you mess it up a little bit because we can always rearrange things later. So this is going to be kind of the back up until the rib cage. I'm going to go up to the rib cage and let's make that stop right at the neck. And then we can have it go through the neck, up through the top of the head, and then right click up there in order to create your bone end. Alright, so I'm going to, first of all, let's turn off all the fins on that bone end because we don't need it. We're actually going to turn off the bends down here too because this is going to end up being what we call the root bone. So I'm going to start up here. Actually, let's start down here. And I'm going to do the whole gradient trick that I did before. Let's make this one red at the top. It's kind of an orange red. And then a yellow at the bottom. Apply gradient. And this one down here, I'm actually going to make this magenta. Okay, so now that we've got our spine created, I'm just going to adjust the bones and the fins a little bit, and you can actually go into bone edit mode to do this. So if I select this bone, for example, I move it forward and backwards, you'll notice that it just moves the base of that bone but still keeps it connected. Same with this one. If I wanted to move it down so that this actually would be a little bit more in line with the head, a little more centered on the neck, I can also do that. So you can really kind of refine things however you need to. I'm going to turn this on to local, because if you have it on local, notice how now I can actually move it in the direction that the bone is facing, which is really handy. So I'm going to move this forward a little bit. Yeah, I'll just compensate with that for with the fins. Kind of center this into the body a little bit more, and this one I actually want it to line up with the legs, because the legs are going to later on be linked to that bone. Okay, so now let's start editing the fins a little bit here. Let's go to the top fin. So it looks like this is going to be the front and the back. Remember, it's okay to have it extend a little bit beyond. I wouldn't do a lot, but a little's fine. So the neck, I definitely want to adjust the taper on that one. I go out towards the back. Turn that down a little bit. So that looks fine as is. Probably going to angle this one up a little bit more. Because you have to remember that this is the area that this basically is telling it the mesh that it's going to control. And this one's not going to have any fins at all. But we also need to create a separate hip bone. So I'm going to turn bone edit mode off. go to create bones, and now if I create a bone and I attach it to this right here, you're going to notice it actually goes from that spot, which is not what we're trying to go for. So I'm just going to kind of set it off to the side a little bit, and we'll have a bone end there. So let's turn the fins off. Actually, I'm going to have to go into Modify tab for that. Okay, and then that we can actually do a shift align to there, so that way it's pointed where it's supposed to be. In this one, we can actually, I'll show you kind of a neat trick for this, is that we can do an Alt-A to here, but we don't want it to actually align to every side of every part. We just want it to be aligned on the X, and so that's going to actually line it up. So now if you look from the side, it's lined up with that one. You know, in this one, we can actually do the same thing. So that now if I look at it from the side, those three are lined up. Now let's take our hip bone. Let's see here, and I'm going to make this a different color as well. So let's just make it, let's make it a bright red. We do definitely want it to be something that is distinguishable from the hip bone. So actually let's make it kind of a teal. So it's a different color than the root. And that one we can just make that teal as well. Okay, so now let's take a look at that hip bone from the side. It's going to extend out. Let's alter that taper so it goes up into the belly a little bit more. And let's angle this one away from the legs. Actually, I think I'm going to make that one kind of go down into the belly a little bit more there. Okay, so then in my back fin, let's taper that up. See, did that get moved? Yeah, it's fine. All right, so let's adjust the fins from the side in the front viewport. There's the head. Let's actually reduce the neck a little bit. And let's bring the neck down a little. Okay, and now the last thing that you have to do is we're going to take both of these legs and the hip bone, and we're actually going to link them to the root. Now what this is going to do is it's going to make it so that now if you have, say, the root bone selected, you can twist. It affects the whole body. You can also grab this and we can move it. If you bring it down to the side, you notice that now he can sit without moving his feet. Looks like I need to, oh yeah, so because that's connected to the controllers. So everything should work as planned. And now if I rotate this forward, you should be able to move without the leg buckling. So probably something is a little bit off if the leg is buckling a little. I would need to adjust that. It's not too bad though, so I think I'm going to keep it for now. So that is your torso and head and spine. So in the next one, I'm going to teach you how to create the control objects that are going to go with the torso, head, and spine. One last thing that I wanted to insist that you do is you'll notice that I keep forgetting to change the names of my bones and everything. That needs to be taken care of. And you also need to make sure that the bones are inside the bone layer. Now, honestly, the easiest way to do this would have been if I just had the bone layer selected when I created them, but since I forgot, I can always just move them over. But I'm going to go ahead and pause and rename these, and then we will end the recording for today. Okay, so now everything has been named correctly. I also named things that I'd forgotten to name before. I renamed them. So remember the custom controls, it starts with a CC underscore, and then you can kind of follow it up as you see before you.